What is going on, guys? My name is Juan and welcome to today's video. So today we are going to be doing a tier list for Xenoblade Chronicles 1 of the main characters in the game. Now, if you don't already know, Xenoblade Chronicles 1 is my personal favorite video game of all time. I got introduced into this game by a YouTuber named Chugga Conroy back in 2014, and I've watched his Let's Play around 2, 3, maybe even 4 times. And then when the definitive edition got released for the Nintendo Switch, I got the chance to play it myself for the very first time. Now, I played this game, I believe, the summer of 2020, and I 100%ed it, and it's just amazing. So I have a tier list right here that I found on Tier List Maker, thanks to Adam, this username right here, for creating it. So we have a bunch of the main characters in the game, and we have our tier list. But because I love this game so much, I had to tweak it a little bit. So I have an S plus tier, which is going to be my absolute favorite characters in the game. And we have S tiers, who are characters that are absolutely incredible that I love. A tier are going to be some more characters that I absolutely love, but I just don't have them in the upper echelon. We have B tiers, which are characters that I really like. C tiers for mid characters that I guess they're pretty good, and F tiers are going to be characters that I genuinely don't care for or dislike. So without further ado, let's get started with Alvis, our first character. Now, fair warning, there are major spoilers for Xenoblade Chronicles 1, and potentially small spoilers for Xenoblade Chronicles 2 if you haven't played those two games. So if you don't want to get spoiled, please click off of this video now. Okay, I'll wait 5 seconds. Okay, you guys should be off. So Alvis is one of the most mysterious characters in the game. When you first see him, he's riding this Telethia after he just shot down Mumkar and the rest of the Mechon. You don't know he's Mumkar yet, just Metal Face, I guess. And throughout the game, he's just this big giant mystery. You don't know if he's good, you don't know if he's bad, but what you do know is that he's awesome. He is going in S plus tier for me. And if you play Xenoblade Chronicles 2, you can make some certain connections between that and this game, and that just makes the whole universe wide open for Alvis here. Second, we have this purple giant dude. I'm going to go with Arglist because that's the giant's name. Zanza is a whole different person. So Arglist as a character himself, when you first see him, you don't know that he's Arglist. You just see him as Zanza. And he does grant Arglist has Zanza. He grants Shulk like the second Monado. But as a giant himself, I'm gonna personally put him in C tier because you don't know much about him. You just know him post being controlled by Zanza. You know that he was friends with Eggo when he was just a giant, which I guess that's cool. But there's not much more to this character. Next, we got Chief Dunga. I'm also going to put him in C tier. He doesn't add a whole lot to the story. You meet him in the Napon village. He's the chief of the village. He pawns Ricky off on you. But as for the rest of the story, he's just kind of there in certain scenes as the representation of Napon in the Allied force. So I have him in C tier. Next, we got Dixon. Now, throughout the game, you make the jokes because his name has the word dick in it. And it fits. He is a big old dick. When you find out that he's just a backstabbing bitch later in the game. When you first see him, he's like this grandfather type figure to Shulk. He knows a lot of things somehow, and you're always like, how the hell does he know this? But that's because he's been here the whole time. He's an evil bastard, and you kill him at the end of the game. Sad for Shulk to see him die, but for me, I'm like, yeah, get a Dixon. So he's just a good character, I believe, overall, so I have him in A tier. Now next, we got Duncan. Nah, his name is Dunban, but if you've seen the IGN review, they totally screwed up his name. Dunban, the hero of the Homs, he's the first character you play as when you boot open the game. He's like this cool, suave character. He's just badass. He's also going in plus tier. He's like, in my playthrough, he's a character that I usually play as when we're just chilling. Yeah, he's like a father figure to Shulk. He's Fiora's sister, or he's Fiora's brother, actually. And he's a cool dude. There's a lot of memes about him. We got the classic "That's Dunban over there" meme. We got obviously the Duncan meme. Just an incredible character. Next, we got Eggo. Now, around the midway point after Prison Island, after Valak Mountain, is when you first find out about Eggo. He is the self-acclaimed leader of Mechonis. And then you find out that he's just a normal dude. He's a Machina. He's gone through so much pain with what Zanza did to the Mechonis and his people, the Machina. And then in the end of his lifespan as a character, he sacrifices himself to give Shulk and the heroes one more, like, come on guys, you guys can do it. You guys can stop Zanza. I personally like Eggo a lot, but I don't think he's here long enough to be in the S tier, so I'm going to have him in A tier. So now we've got Fiora, Shulk's childhood best friend, the girl that we all fell in love with when we booted up the game. Her death in the beginning of the game hurt so many people. I was shocked as well. And then when you get up to Prison Island, you find out she's still alive, and then Shulk tries to get her back. You get her back, and she's this completely different person. Now, she's still the same old Fiora, but she's a Mechon, basically. Her whole body is of a Mechon. And then her storyline just to be with Shulk in the end. And then at the end of the game, she gets her Hum's body back. Fiora is one of those characters I've got to have in S tier. So now we've got Athron next. He is not Athron, he's Gatto. He is Charla's boyfriend, but we don't get to see him a whole lot. He's MIA a lot of the story. At first, you're thinking he's probably dead, but there's still always this aura that maybe he's still alive, and then you find out he is alive, and he's also a character that sacrifices himself at the end of his storyline to help the heroes triumph over, I think it's over Eggo, that he was helping them triumph over. I like him, but he's just not a big part of the stories, so I'll have him in C tier. So now we move on to this little bitch. He's F tier. His name is Juju. He's this kid. He causes trouble. When you first see him, his like buggy's broken, and then you help him out, and he causes more trouble, and you're like, what's the point? What's the point in helping him if he's just gonna cause more trouble, and all he does is complain? Now he may yeah, F tier. I don't want to talk about Juju anymore. We got Prince Callion next. He's a cool character, in my opinion. I'm gonna have an A tier. When you reach the Hyantia royal capital, you see him. He's Melia's brother. He's just a cool dude. When Melia goes on her travels with the party, he takes over as the leader of the Hyantia, and he's strong, and he also sacrifices himself. That's one thing that I'm noticing, is that a lot of characters sacrifice themselves, which is probably why this story is so emotional, so good, so entertaining. I'm gonna have an A tier for Callion. Next, we got Lenata. She doesn't have a whole lot to do in the story. You meet her about when you're 3/4 or a halfway through the game. The only notable parts I remember is her saying that there's something wrong with Fiora, so she helps Fiora with the name that's hella long that I can't pronounce. I don't hate her, so I'm not gonna put her F tier, but she's not that memorable of a character. I'm gonna have her C tier. And now we've got Lorithia. Another F tier character. Um, you see her when you enter Alchemoth, the Imperial capital. Uh, she exposes like her breasts a lot or her body a lot. She you know she's evil. She always talks in like this mysterious way. But unlike Elvis, when you're not sure whether he's bad or good, you know Lorithia is gonna be bad. And then her battle near the end of the game in the Bionis interior is one of the most painful battles in the game, probably the hardest battle in the game. Um, when I played it for the first time, I made sure to get ready for this battle. I made sure to prepare myself so that I wouldn't have as much problems as a lot of other people did. And yeah, Lorithia, easy F tier. Next, we got Melia, another one of the waifus of the game. I don't want to personally interfere with who's better, Fiora or Melia. So I'm going to have them both right next to each other in S tier. She's half Homs, half High Antia. She goes through so much pain in the story. She lost her father, she lost her brother, she lost a majority of her people. And she has so much pressure on her. She has a crush on Shulk, but Shulk ends up with Fiora, so Melia's left all alone. As a character, she's also one of my favorite characters to play as. She's just so unique in using Ether and her talent art. If you know how to use Melia, she's one of the most fun characters to play as in Xenoblade Chronicles. So I'm going to have her in S tier. Next, we got Lady Mayneth, the god of Mechonis. You don't hear about Lady Mayneth until super late in the story. She is inside of Fiora's body for a lot of the game. You just don't know it because you don't know of Lady Mayneth's existence. She also sacrifices herself from Zanza at the end to help our heroes defeat Zanza. I'm going to have her also in C tier just because she's not super involved in the story. So now we've got Mikkel. I'm going to have Mikkel C tier, another character that's not too much involved in the story. You meet him in the hidden village and he tells you he wants you to kill Eggo, who's his Eggo is Mikkel's son. He like saves you when like the whole party is falling into the Bionis or falling into the sea. He just doesn't do a lot, not very memorable, so I'm having him in C tier. Now we've got Mumkar. So he's one of the first characters you see in the game, and you already know he's gonna betray you. And then he becomes a Mechon, he becomes Metal Face, and then he comes over, he kills Fiora, the bastard. He doesn't even feel sorry for us. And his main goal is to stick it up to Dunban for having a Monado. I think I'm gonna have him in A tier just because his voice is hilarious and there are some very good moments with Mumkar. I especially love the battle between him and Dunban at the end of Valak Mountain. I think that scene is very incredibly well done. I'm have him A tier. So now next is Athron. He is a Colony 6 general. He doesn't really do a whole lot in the story. You meet him and he's kind of a bitch towards you because he thinks that you as Shulk are a bitch for having the Monado but then being scared. But then like he says sorry once like you guys realize what's really going on. Because Dixon is Dixon, Thorn becomes like the head of the Homs in the Allied force. I'll have him B tier, just because I think he's pretty cool. But yeah. Next we've got Ryan, the meme lord himself, Shulk's other best friend. Easy S tier. I could have him S plus tier, but I'm saving S plus for my three favorite characters. S tier for Ryan. He has so many quotable memes. We've got Ryan time. We got the alley oops. We've got his dynamic between himself and Ricky. You know that he likes Charla, but he just doesn't go for it because Charla has a boyfriend. But once Gatto is dead, it's all Ryan and Charla. So Ryan, one of the best characters in the game, probably one of the best side or secondary characters that we've had in any video game. And now we have Ricky the Napon. Now, I love Ricky, I just want to say. But when I first saw Ricky in Choga Conroy's Let's Play, I really wasn't a big fan because we just got a new character in Melia, and I was still trying to figure out Melia. And then you get another one immediately after in Ricky, and he can be perceived as an annoying character. Now, I say perceived because Ricky is honestly such a sweetheart. I'm going to have him in S tier. As a character himself, he plays fantastically. I'll usually have him as one of the AI characters. I don't play as him a whole lot, only sometimes. But he's really like a jack of all trades. He can do pretty much anything you want him to. He has a ton of HP. And as a character in the story, he serves as comedic relief at times, but he does have certain sweet moments, like with Dunban or with Melia, that really adds to his character, because he could just be another like comedic relief annoying character, but the fact that they added those certain scenes that make him a more fleshed out person, and he's 40 years old and he has like 13 like Napon babies, which you can't tell if you don't play the game. So Ricky, another S tier for me. Now next we have Charla. Now I think you can control 6 characters in Xenoblade Chronicles. Charla is easily the worst. She is a healer, but then there's so many strategies where you don't need a dedicated healer, and then her offense isn't really that great. She only really has one art headshot. I think it's headshot that deals pretty decent damage. But there's so many other builds you can do where you don't need Charla. And as a character, she's Juju's older brother. That whole ether mine scene, I don't really like a whole lot. She does have this like hints of relationship or hints of love with Ryan, but it doesn't really show a whole lot until like the Fallen Arm onwards. And she's just kind of there a lot of the time. Now I still like Charlotte. She's still a good character, but she's just not up in the tiers of all the other characters I have. I'll save this dude for last if you've never played the game. Next we've got King Sorian. He's Melia's father. He is the king of Alchemath until he dies in the end. Now this time I wouldn't classify it as a sacrifice, because he's not like sacrificing his death. He just like dies because Mumkar is like trying to kill him. He plays an important role for Melia. Melia's first of many tragedies, losing her father. I'm not sure. I'm either gonna put him B or C tier. I mean, he's only there for like a couple hours of game time, so realistically, I'm putting him in C tier for Sorian Antiqua. And now we've got Tyrea next. I believe she is half High Antia, half Homs as well. I'm gonna include future connected stuff, which is like the epilogue or prologue of Xenoblade Chronicles. It's just some extra story, because in the main Xenoblade Chronicles 1, all she really does is try and kill Melia, and then she like disappears unless you play her side quest, and then you realize that Tyrea and Melia both have the same mother. And with Future Connected, you get to learn more about Tyrea. Now, I've only played Future Connected once, and that was like just over a year ago, so I don't have a lot of that fresh in my memory. But I think Future Connected definitely does help Tyrea become a more fleshed out character. I'm going to have her B tier for now. Next, we've got Vanea. She's Eggo's sister. She also doesn't really do a whole lot in the story. She helps guide you from Mechonis Field, from the top of Mechonis Field to Agniratha. And then she tries to persuade Eggo, but it never works. I'm gonna have her C tier. She does have some big breasts, some big breasts, very revealing. Okay, forget that. Next, we got Colonel Vangar. He just survives everything. Like when you first see him in the beginning of the game, he's like yelling at people, and then you think he's dead, and then like halfway through the game, he just becomes alive again, and then you think he's dead again, and then at the end of the game, he's just still alive. So who knows what kind of anti-death gems Colonel Vangar has, but I wish we could have those in the main game. He only appears in like 4 or 5 scenes, but it's still like, how does he keep living? I'll have him A tier just for that. Next, we've got Zord. Now, Zord is only there for like a couple hours of game time in the Ether Mines. He's the one who captures Juju, so that is a plus in my mind. That automatically makes you at least B tier for trying to kill Juju. Oops. But if you do certain side quests, you learn that he is when he was a Homs, he was the father of, I think, Dorothy, who is also one of Shulk's friends, who doesn't have any importance. But I think that added a bit of flavor to Zord as a character really gives him more human vibes. I'm gonna have him in A tier. Like Colonel Vanguard, isn't really there for a long time, but he's there. He's certainly memorable. So next we got Yumea. Now a lot of people probably wouldn't know who Yumea is. She's an F tier character, to be honest. She's the first or second consort. I don't remember. So she's like Melia's mother, but not her real mother, just her Hyentia mother. Because Melia has a real mother who we never see, who I believe it's the second consort, and then the first consort is Yumea. And her goal, she's only here for like an hour of gameplay, is to kill Melia. She sends Tyrea to kill Melia, and then she disappears afterwards. I don't even remember where she goes. She either dies or goes to jail. I think she actually goes to jail because at the end of the game, when you're doing all the side quests, she turns into a Telethia, and then you're like, ah, bitch, you turn into a Telethia. I don't feel sorry for you at all. But then it makes it like sentimental because Tyrea is like, oh, my mother. But yeah, F tier character for her. Now we've got 2 people left, both voiced by Adam Howden. Zanza, the big bad guy, the main bad guy in the story. You don't learn about Zanza for a long, long time. But that scene where he is revealed is... my mind was blown. I kept rewatching that scene for so many hours when I first saw it. Oh my god. His reveal is one of the best scenes in Xenoblade Chronicles. But as a character, I'm not including Xenoblade Chronicles 2 stuff. Only the first game. Only the first game. I'm gonna have him B tier. Because if you just play Xenoblade Chronicles 1, the only thing you know is that he's the god of Bionis. And then he created all of life on Bionis. But then for some reason, he turns evil and wants to kill all life on Bionis. And you're like, whoa, this dude is just insane. He has no likable traits at all. Now, like I said, I'm not going to include any stuff in Xenoblade Chronicles 2. So only in the first game. He's just a dick. Now, his name is not Dixon. He's just a dick. He's going to be B tier for me. So we've got the last character now, Shulk, the main protagonist. The character that probably, if you play for the first time, you're going to be using Shulk for the whole game. The the wielder of the Monado himself. S plus tier for Shulk. One of the best protagonists in any video game of all time. And his English voice actor, Adam Howden, did a phenomenal job voicing him. His yells have so much passion and emotion to him. He goes through this whole ass journey. And it goes through so many twists and turns. At first, all he wants is revenge for Fiora. But then he finds out Fiora's alive. So he's like, ugh, we've got to save Fiora. But then there's so much shit that happens. He's like, oh, we got to find out all the secrets. We got to take down Eggo. We got to take down Xanta. I could talk about Xenoblade Chronicles forever. And never run out of things to talk about. So this is my tier list. We have Alvis, Dunban, and Shulk in S plus tiers. My 3 favorite characters in the whole game. We've got Fiora, Melia, Ryan, and Ricky in S tier. We've got Dixon, Eggo, Callian, Moomcar, Colonel Vangar, and Zord in A tier. We have Athron, Sharla, Tyrea, and Xanta for B tier. We've got Arglis, Dunga, Gatto, Lenata, Lady Mayneth, Mikkel, Sorian, and Vinea in C tier. And for F tier, the people that can fuck off are Juju, Lorithia, and Yumea. So that is my definitive tier list for Xenoblade Chronicles 1. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And let me know if you want me to do one for Xenoblade Chronicles 2 as well, because I also love that game. So anyways, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!